Hello students, today we'll see the third unit in geography, that is hydrological cycle. Introduction. So hydro means water, right? So in this lesson we are going to see about the water and the water resources, okay, and the forms of water. So introduction. Water is one of the most important elements on the earth. Is it right? Yeah, because water is the most important element for the human being to survive their life, right? So all the plants and animals and also the human beings, so they need water to survive their life. So apart from the drinking purpose, water is used for the domestic purposes and the agriculture, the industrial purposes, etc. So water is an essential thing, and without water life is not possible on the earth, right? So water is an indispensable element. What do you mean by indispensable? It means water is an most needed thing in the part of a life. Water on the earth. So 71% of Earth's surface is covered by water. So most of the part of Earth is covered by water. The quantity of water present on the Earth is about 326 million cubic miles. So the total quantity which is present in the Earth is 326 million cubic miles. So we can't imagine, and it is not possible for us to see all the quantity of water in the earth, right? And also most of the water which is present in earth is saline, and also the most quantity of water is found in the seas and the oceans. So 97.2% of salt water is available, and also 2.8% of fresh water is available on the earth. So out of this 2.8% of fresh water, it is divided into two, that is surface water and the groundwater. So this 2.8% is divided into two, that is 2.2% is in the form of surface water and 0.6 as the groundwater. Okay, is it clear? And then from the 2.2% of surface water, so among this 2.5 is available in the form of glacier and the ice caps, and 0.01% can be seen in the lakes, streams, and the remaining 0.04 is in other forms. Among the 0.6% of groundwater, only 0.25 is extracted from the earth with the help of the drilling technology. Okay, so these water resources are very useful for the humans, and it is available in three sources. So they are precipitation. So we know what is precipitation, that is in the form of rain, and the surface water which is present on the surface of the earth, and the groundwater which is under the earth. Okay, so these three are the water resources which is very useful for human beings. Now we'll see about the hydrological cycle or the water cycle. So hydrological cycle means it includes the various aspects of water. Okay, so various aspects of water means like the occurrence and the distribution of water on the earth's surface, the movement of water, and the properties on the planet earth. So this hydrological cycle, it includes all these factors. Availability of water on the earth is not uniform, right? Because in the seas the water level will be high, and also in the lakes it will be low when compared to the seas. So the water which present on the earth is not in the uniform manner. So some places are very rich and some places are poor in the water resources. So hydrological cycle, it is a global sun driven process. So it is a natural process. So now we'll see the process of hydrological cycle. So the water which is from the oceans, okay, the water from the oceans or the seas, so it gets evaporated and it reaches the atmosphere. So the water is transported from oceans to atmosphere. Okay, this is the first thing. And from the atmosphere to land. So from the atmosphere, it gets suppressed and it reaches the land in the form of rain. So from atmosphere, it reaches to the land in the form of rain. Okay, and then the third thing is from land back to oceans. So from the land through runoff, it get back to the oceans. So this is a cycling process and it is known as hydrologic cycle. So hydrologic cycle is a natural process and it will continue. See here, the water from the water resources, that is from the oceans or the seas, it gets evaporated, and also in the plants also the water gets evaporated, so it is called transpiration. Okay, so through the evaporation, the water from the ocean and the plants, it gets evaporated and it reaches to the atmosphere, and also it's suppressed and it changes to the form of condensation. So finally, due to the heaviness, it reaches in the form of rain to the land. So through the runoff, it melts and it reaches the ocean. So this is the hydrologic process. The water from the surface and also the water from the plants, so these two things get evaporated and it reaches the atmosphere. So in the atmosphere, the water vapor get condensed and it changes in the form of clouds. So after that, this clouds, it bursts. So as a result, it will flow through the rain. Okay, so after that, this rain, a part of water from precipitation means a part of water from the rain, it flows over the land, which is known as runoff. So the rainwater that flows over the land is called runoff. And also the other part of this rainwater, it infiltrates into the soil, that is it penetrates into the soil. Okay, which builds up the groundwater. So a part of rainwater, it flows over the land is called runoff, and the other part of rainwater, it penetrates into the soil. So the groundwater is increased. So the level of groundwater is increased. Hydrologic cycle is a circulation of water. It is a continuous process and takes place naturally. So this process is a continuous thing and it is a natural thing. Okay, so three important phases of the hydrologic cycle are evapotranspiration, precipitation and runoff. Evapotranspiration means evaporation plus transpiration. Okay, so that is called evapotranspiration, and precipitation means rain, and also runoff, the rainwater, it reaches over the land, it flows over the land, is called runoff. Components of hydrologic cycle. So there are 6 main components of hydrologic cycle. They are evapotranspiration, condensation, precipitation, infiltration, percolation and runoff. Evapotranspiration. So evapotranspiration means the surface water and the water from the plants. So these two things, it gets evaporated and it reaches to the atmosphere. So this is called evapotranspiration. It is defined as the total loss of water from the earth. Okay, it is defined as the total loss of water from the earth through evaporation from the surface water and the transpiration from vegetation. Vegetation means plants. So this thing is called evapotranspiration. The evaporation plus transpiration is called evapotranspiration, right? Now we'll see it separately, that is, we'll see about evaporation now. So evaporation means it refers to the process in which the liquid form of water changes into the gaseous form. So the liquid form of water, it changes into the water vapor. So that is called evaporation. So we know water boils at 100 degrees Celsius temperature, right? So to heat the water, we need to boil it for 100 degrees Celsius. But it actually begins to evaporate at 0 degrees Celsius. So the water want to heat at the 100 degrees Celsius and also it want to get evaporate at 0 degrees Celsius. And also this process takes place very slowly. The surface water, the water which is present on the earth, and the wind and also the atmospheric humidity. So these three things which affect the rate of evaporation. The atmosphere, it gets nearly 90% of moisture from the oceans, seas, lakes and rivers, that is from the evaporation, and 10% of moisture from plants through transpiration. Okay, so evapotranspiration means evaporation and transpiration. So atmosphere, it gets 90% of water through this evaporation and 10% of water through the transpiration which happens in plants. So on a global scale, the amount of water gets evaporated is about the same as the amount of water delivered to earth as precipitation. So see here, the amount of water it gets evaporated is equal to the amount of water is delivered to the earth as a rain. So this process is same, but it varies in the geographically. So how it varies? So in the oceans, the evaporation is high because water is there. So the evaporation is high and the precipitation is low. Okay, in the water resources, the evaporation is high and the precipitation, that is rain, is low. In the land, the precipitation is high, okay, and the evaporation is low. Is it clear? And also the evaporation is low during the calm winds than during windy times. So in the windy times the evaporation is high and in the calm winds the evaporation is low. Next we'll see about transpiration. So transpiration, it is a process of water content in the plants are released into the atmosphere in the form of water vapor. So the water from the plants, it gets evaporated and it reaches the atmosphere. This process is called transpiration. Okay, and much of the water taken by the plants is released through transpiration. Okay, the water which plants have absorbed is released through this transpiration. This transpiration, so it is affected by the temperature, wind and the humidity. Condensation. So condensation means it is the process in which the gaseous form of water, it changes into the liquid form. So the water vapor, so it changes into the liquid is called condensation. So this condensation, it occurs in the atmosphere. So when the warm air rises and it cools, it loses its capacity to hold the water vapor. So the excess water vapor, it condenses to form the cloud droplets. So this condensation, it occurs in the atmosphere. So when the air, it loses its capacity to hold the water vapor. So due to the heaviness of the water vapor, it cannot hold the water vapor. So this water vapor, it gets suppressed and it is ready to flow in the form of cloud droplets. So this is called condensation. After that, this cloud droplets, it changes and it forms into precipitation, that is it forms into the rain. So after this condensation, the precipitation, that is the rain, the process of rain will happen and the rain, it reaches to the land. So this is the hydrological cycle, that is water cycle of the earth. Remaining thing will continue in the next class. Thank you students.